All right, now we're recording. Let's double check. You guys say I'm okay. Brad, let's hear you.
Oh, I feel amazing.
Caleb.
I don't feel amazing. These allergies can eat a bag of dicks.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather, terrible allergies.
Brad, can we have the weather report?
Man, let's wait till after music.
Okay.
Yes. Once again, more than a full year in, past happy birthday time, episode 53 of ShiftLess.
I'm still wearing my birthday suit, guys. It's under this. It's under this.
Okay, it's wrapped. Thankfully.
We're surrounded by bikes today.
We are.
And glorious weather.
Fantastic weather.
Unbelievable weather.
Full of pollen, though.
Everything's green and popping, thus the pollen. I made the mistake of mowing yesterday and getting straight off the mower.
Yeah.
And getting my stuff together for TNSS and going to ride in TNSS. I thought I was going to freaking die. I still can't breathe.
Yeah. I got out there a little earlier, was going to do a full pull, and I woke up yesterday morning feeling like He-Man. And I got out there and I got past...
Felt like She-Ra.
I got to the short west turnoff to continue on, and all of a sudden that energy gauge just tanked, and I was on the struggle bus the whole way around.
That happens.
I honestly thought for a minute I wasn't even going to go back out, and we ended up going back out for a little bit, but still I just, it's that thing where you're breathing hard and deep breaths in, deep breaths out, and it feels like someone's standing on your chest.
Yeah.
Just could not feel like I could feel my lungs, and I figured...
It was
Call it a day.
All up in my sinuses last night. I thought I was getting sick.
Yeah.
Because just a big old pounding sinus headache. One nostril trying to run like a damn faucet. It's like, man, I don't need to get sick because I can't. I'm not the type that if I'm sick, I'm going to be around other people.
Yeah.
So it's like, I hope those guys can fly solo without me. And then Jan was like, it's just allergies, dumbass.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, my ears have been hurting.
Yeah.
Off and on.
Yeah.
And that's annoying.
We're sounding like a bunch of whiny old men here.
Yeah. It's okay.
Let's talk about the good stuff.
Let's talk about this beautiful thing behind me.
Yeah. The sun?
It's not behind me. It's right here.
That's kind of behind.
That's to my military right.
Your call. Good job.
Like, did I get it? Did I do it right?
That's fucking epic.
I don't know my left from my right. Here's the deal. I know my.
I'm so lost.
I know my left from my right.
I bet the audience is lost too.
No. There's a lot that aren't lost. There's a lot that know a lot about this.
I can't tell you how many times I've been on a ride with Caleb and he's leading and he'll go left up here and then he'll turn right in front of me.
I know my left from my right. I'm a grown man. The problem is the connections between the old brain and the old speak hole.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily line up at times.
I know how that goes.
That could be the, a little bit of a...
Processor.
I'm 404 and most of the time. Page cannot be found.
I can't tell you how many times he's done that to me.
There may have been some irretrievably burnt cells along the way.
Oh, I think this was going on long before cells started getting burned.
Was that hung up there on purpose? Oh,
it was, but that's not going to work.
Yeah. Not with these meandering freaking canines. So Kevin finally did it.
He did it. What did he do?
He went and did the damn thing.
He did it.
So Kevin, we're looking at Kevin's new drop bar front suspension gravel bike. It's a Salsa. What is that? A Tributary?
They call it the Tributary.
Tributary. They have a Tributary and a Confluence.
Confluence. However you choose to pronounce it.
Yeah.
The Confluence is the lighter duty gravel bike. It has the hub type. E motor. This has
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that style of e-bike.
I'm
in the mid-tier market.
Man, that Confluence, the pricing on that thing's, I think, really competitive ridiculous.
Yeah. In a good way or a bad way?
$3,000 for an e-bike, man.
Yeah.
It was set up for proper gravel riding.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's aluminum, but
Yeah. But you're not fully committed either. Like, you could take that rear wheel off, correct? And just put a regular rear wheel on?
that is my understanding.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm not 100% positive.
Well, and the
on
reason
that.
I say that we're going to be seeing more of that is because they don't have to design a whole new bike to offer an e-bike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I am. After I spend some time on this, I would definitely like to find a way to do. Maybe Salsa Cycles is listening. I would love to find a way to do an extended demo on a Confluence as well. I can't afford both, but I would love to spend some time on one because I think that might be a really good option for the right people. And we'll definitely be talking. Not everybody's right for an e-bike. I can already tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But
So walk us through your build, though. Other than the stuff that's strapped on, you know, seat bag, frame bag, bottle cages, and the stuff that's on the bars, and obviously your pedals, is that the way it came spec'd?
Yeah, that's the stock Tributary. It's
Tires as well?
stock tires.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what all the stuff is yet.
Yeah.
I really, it is what it is sort of thing.
Yeah.
I have never been an up to the minute parts spec fanboy on top of it's. You know, it's a SRAM build.
Yeah.
It's a 42 tooth chainring. That's important to me.
I'm a SRAM boy.
It's a 1050 cassette, hydraulic brakes,
12 speed.
12 speed.
Yeah.
Mechanical, not
Yeah.
it is an e-bike, but it is not electronic shifting.
Oh, wait. I just noticed something.
What's that?
What's that on your valve stem on the rear?
That is the speed sensor.
Ah.
So, and then up against the motor itself. So it's basically a magnet. It's a big old
Yeah.
magnet.
Okay.
And so that's how and that has to be there
In order for it to engage.
for the bike
yeah.
to work.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So,
Huh.
So why is there a USA version and a Canadian version? Is there some different regulations on battery and?
all right.
Does the other one say A too much when you shift?
Because they don't have the EPA up there, man.
So we were talking about the Confluence, and it's with the lighter duty hub motor. So here's the big deal on the Confluence. It's still a 30-pound bike as an e-bike, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This thing's a pig.
Yeah, I didn't pick it up. I'm gonna rub my balls on it after the podcast.
It is a 50-pound bike.
Wow.
Really? That's got to just be battery and motors.
And it's all battery and motor.
Bosch?
It is the Bosch
Good,
setup.
good.
And it's got a hella big battery
Yeah.
in it. The difference between the US and the Canadian versions, and when I verbally committed to this bike, I didn't realize this. This one has a top assist speed up to 28 miles per hour.
This one does?
Yes,
Holy shit. Does that make it a class 3?
it does.
Oh.
The Canadian version can be class 1 only, up to 20 miles per hour.
No. No, I think you mean 28 kilometers an hour.
I don't know what the conversion
I don't
is.
know what the conversion is either. I was just taking a stab.
Class 1, which in Patriot measurements.
In freedom distance.
And I'll be the first.
I wonder why they would have more regulation on speed than we would in America. Is it because they're less free?
Some would make that argument, yes. My guess is there are more specific guidelines around e-bikes in Canada right now than there are in the U.S. Now, that said, and my understanding is thus, there's an app that everything's completely customizable for your power output and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I can restrict it to class 1
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
should I choose to keep myself legal. And that is my expectation.
What do you mean to keep yourself legal?
Well, like at the Grapevine Lake Trails, to get an e-bike permit, if
You've got to run it in a particular class or you're going to get a ticket.
It has to. I believe it has to meet the class 1 guidelines, and a lot of the federal land stuff I believe falls under that. I haven't dug that deeply yet.
Yeah.
But the places.
There's lots to learn.
So, I mean, generally speaking, the places that allow e-bikes, even at the municipal level, and maybe it's changed in the past few years. I haven't dug that deeply into it. Many of them do restrict to Class 1.
Yeah.
So, and it makes sense because you don't want somebody plowing through River Legacy at 28 miles an hour.
Yeah, they wouldn't get to see all the activities.
You're thinking LB Houston.
Yeah, same.
So you were saying this is a little heavier than what you expected. Is that because knowing that it's gravel and you probably tend to go out for longer rides on a gravel bike than you would on a mountain bike on a trail, they've given you a bigger battery for more distance? Is that safe to say?
That's my assumption at this point.
And they make an extender for that too, don't they?
There is an extender.
How much does the extender run, and what kind of extension does it allow?
All right, so the battery that's
currently
the internal battery, I think it's a 680 watt hour, maybe 650, somewhere in that range. And it is the Bosch motor and Bosch battery.
625. That's Canadian. No, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at 625.
What's the exchange rate?
That may be the spec that's listed there, but I definitely was seeing a higher spec with my associated materials.
Capable of up to 875 with range extender.
The range
battery
extender
sold
is 250, and then you can basically get 2 range extenders and turn it into 1,000, which might be close to a century, supposedly, sort of thing.
So which bike? This is the Tributary, but which build specifically is it? It's the SUS Apex Eagle or the SUS Apex? Oh yeah, SUS Apex Eagle.
Yes.
Okay.
Apex Eagle has the suspension fork.
Yeah.
And the other one has the rigid fork.
Yeah.
So and I think it's 11 speed or is it 10 speed? I can't remember.
I don't know.
But anyway.
I'm looking at your model specifically now.
And I mean, they have carbon ones that are coming out supposedly later in the year. So I'm sure the $12,000 one will have the Eagle transmission and everything like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This definitely seems to be the appropriate tool for the intended purpose.
For your intended purpose,
This works very well as a Spinistry tool.
Yeah.
I took it for a short ride yesterday.
Love it when you call it a tool.
It's not a toy. I explain this to my wife constantly.
Yeah, keep saying that. I believe you.
I took it for a spin yesterday, and it really confirmed a lot of my e-bike beliefs.
I want to look at those tires after we're done. It's interesting to me. I mean, I guess they're just trying to make the beefiest.
It'll take a 2.6.
Yeah, all-terrain, go anywhere, do anything.
It's a mountain bike.
Yeah.
It's like a cut. It's a drop bar mountain bike. It's like a cutthroat. Is the intent.
Yeah.
And so that's from my short little ride yesterday. Man, and we've definitely spoken about it. And I guess it's been part of what we've bitched about on e-bikes, but it was after I had some time to digest it, it was eye-opening to me from the, where I talked so long about I don't get it. Why, why do...
Let me guess, now you get it.
In a way I do, in a way I don't. So I was right in that what I enjoy about riding bicycles does not line up with an e-bike. I'll expand on that.
That's going to require explanation
in a moment. But I also get why the people that ride e-bikes wouldn't turn back and go a different direction. It's the short answer. It's a different kind of fun.
Yeah,
is really what it boils down to. And me being an endurance rider. No, I'm not one of those that embraces the pain cave and just that's my whole point, is to get as deep in pain as possible. But I get the sense of satisfaction of accomplishing a 6-hour day on the bike and doing a lot of stuff like that, and it's satisfying while I'm doing it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's
like a Disney day out here today. All these birds chirping.
This reinforced to me that anybody that thinks that started with an e-bike or really started getting into cycling on an e-bike and thinks they're getting a full workout or they're trying as hard. No, there is no way unless you are just dead ass focused on maxing out your heart rate or getting a good workout. At least with the Class 3. Maybe that makes a difference. But, I mean, I didn't crank it all the way up to turbo mode most of the time. I usually kept it in the lower modes.
Oh, I hope it's fully charged because I'm going turbo on that bitch.
It's got a dropper on it.
Yeah.
I just noticed on the photos, I saw the thumb switch on the bars. I didn't realize what it was.
Yeah, and so I was going to ask, is that a dropper-specific bag?
It is not.
Okay. I was going to say, that's not going to work out.
So, well, if you never use the dropper, it will.
Well, yeah, but what's the point of having a dropper if you don't use it?
Because it came with it.
Yeah,
but,
that's a fair point. Because you can't pack it in, man. That's what chaos.
So here, there's definitely a lot of yin and yang to this bike. Make no mistake, a day with it, I love it. It's a fantastic bicycle. I definitely see how it can be utilized for adventure riding. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
But it's not a direct, hey, I'm going to move over from a cutthroat to this.
Yeah.
There is a huge storage issue there, and it's because of the battery. The battery takes up a lot of room.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. For an e-bike, would you rather have room for a big bag, or would you rather have a bigger battery that takes you further?
Is there a cage mount on the bottom of the down tube?
There is not.
Huh. That's interesting.
No, that's where they service. You got to be able to get into the guts.
So
makes sense.
There is a lot of restriction on bag placement because you also have additional controls on the handlebar for the e-bike. So that gets in the way of bag mounts, light mounts, computer mounts, whatever else.
Yeah.
So this is going to take some finagling for me to figure it out. But it's also, I was kind of stressing over it last night, and I wasn't knocking the bike. It was like, man, I don't know if this is going to suit my needs. But then I got to think about it. It's like, well, with this bike, my needs are completely different. And I have to identify what those needs are and what I do need on the bike.
I need a spot of clarification. Is this Kevin's bike?
It is Kevin's bike.
Okay. All right. I was just making sure that, because you said you were like trying to figure out. So I was wondering if there was a return policy here.
No, I will make it work.
Yeah.
And I knew it was not going to, off the shelf, be perfect.
Sure.
But in turn, I mean, I'm on my fourth bag that I tried to make something work, and I've still got issues.
I have a piece of kit in my garage, I believe, unless I gave it away at White Elephant, that is made. And if not, if I don't have it, I can at least turn you on to it. But if I do have it, it's yours. Wolf Tooth makes a dropper-specific sleeve that you can attach a regular saddlebag to that protects your stanchion.
It doesn't sway? Because the whole point of strapping it to your seat post is so it doesn't sway around when you're...
Yeah, and I think that's the whole deal. Is it's a rubberized deal that clamps down, and then your strap goes around that piece, and it locks it in place. And that way, you can still use your dropper, but you don't run the risk of. Because the problem is, if you have a regular saddlebag and you use a dropper, it's going to end up chewing up your stanchion.
Yeah.
And then your dropper goes to poop. So,
what I think my long-term solution is likely to be, but I don't know yet. Again, it is a different format. It is a different discipline.
Yeah, for sure.
Is a different way of going about things than what we're used to from a bike packing perspective. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. From what we're used to, particularly on single track, this thing's a pig.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing every e-bike out there is.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine.
So, again, I'm not knocking it. I appreciate the longer battery life, so I will take that extra weight at the down tube at the front end.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to make it appropriate for me to put my aero rack on the back, and you basically store everything on the rear end, because I'm still going to be basically balanced instead of putting stuff in the frame bag or on the handlebar. The one that gets me the most is I'm not able to do a gas tank bag of any kind because they've got their electronic controls on the top of the top tube. And I've definitely always been a fan of
Yes.
that top tube bag up towards the stem.
Yeah,
that's
I'm a
one of
fuel
my
tank
go-to.
guy.
Yeah.
But you can run a mountain feed bag.
Most likely. I haven't pulled those out yet to see.
Yeah, there's
But again, there's controls on the handlebar,
yeah.
and now I've got light in the computer, and so I don't. So at the moment,
Yeah.
I would have to figure out.
Well, you can run a Rockgeist. What is that thing called?
Yeah, I've got one of those.
Yeah.
Hanging out. So again,
Yeah.
we'll get there. We'll dial it in, and we'll see
Yeah.
what comes up short, where, and adjust.
Yeah.
And it's not anything I'm going to figure out in.
Is that a Volt saddle?
No, those are WTB.
I think.
Oh, that is a Volt.
That is a WTB
Yeah,
right
you're right.
there.
Yeah. I forgot that was the brand name. Just an observation. Surprisingly short stem.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the other cutthroats. I wonder.
It's not a cutthroat though. The angles are different. The geometry's different.
Oh, that's right. I shouldn't compare it to the cutthroat. You're
Yeah,
right.
that's
you're right. Sorry.
That's a lot slacker head tube
a lot-
angle
yeah,
than
and,
a cutthroat.
and a steeper seat tube angle too.
Yeah.
So that was the takeaway. I think that's what Salsa tried first, was just to cut the bottom bracket of a cutthroat and put a Bosch motor in there and see it. And they figured out, particularly at Class 3 at 28 miles an hour, that did not work on a cutthroat.
Sure.
That's a bold move by Salsa, to go their first gravel adventure e-bike and make it a Class 3.
Yeah,
Well, technically the Confluence was their first, because it came out a week earlier.
Oh, well, they were put out in progression, but my question is, as far as balance goes, like how far does that battery extend up the down tube? Like, is it the majority of that down tube? And then I guess the entire motor's in the bottom bracket.
Basically, yes. So
Ridiculousness.
My guess is the battery goes up to the second S.
Yeah.
Would be my between the L and the S somewhere is my guess, but that's just a guess. I haven't tapped on it to try to determine that. And
I can't wait to take a spin on it. What kind of bars are those? Are those cow chippers?
I believe they are.
Yeah.
I believe they are.
Brad, did you see I know that you're a SRAM guy, but that GRX build is your color, brother.
I know.
I liked that color.
I know. I saw it.
If that one had been the first one to come in, and this one wasn't coming right away, it wouldn't have hurt my feelings to go with.
Yeah, that's a sexy bitch.
That's a good looking bike.
Yeah.
Not owning one of these, probably I don't have any plans, but I think you have to get the one with the suspension fork.
Oh yeah.
I don't really understand why they would even offer one without it. It seems like kind of a no-brainer.
Well, I would understand it if it was $1,000 less, but I don't understand it for $500 less, to be honest with you.
I just realized that. I see that price.
If I'm going to spend $5,500 on a bike, I might as well spend $6,000 on a bike and get the 12-speed and the suspension fork.
I think the reason they're doing that is because some people, A, are going to spec their own fork, and B, some people are just going to go, well, I don't need a suspension fork until they figure out that they do.
I get that.
Yeah.
The $500 difference, I would think it would need to be more than that for that to make sense. But
I
that's
get that.
just me.
I get that, but like me, I mean, I'm a very picky person when it comes to part selection, and I do love SRAM drivetrain components, but when it comes to suspension, I'm a Fox guy. So and basically, if it were Fox, it would have been a no-brainer for me. Yeah.
It's like, I'm going suspension fork.
Yeah.
Again, since there's only a $500 difference.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I will.
I mean, like if I bought that bike, I would immediately sell that fork and buy a new fork. That's just me.
No, I get it.
I'm not trying to influence
and
you.
10 years ago, I would have done the same.
Yeah.
But it's been 10 years since I have put any miles on a RockShox. So I'm willing to say, let's see what RockShox is doing these days.
I mean, that was clearly an OEM business decision, though. They're getting a great deal on those forks because they're buying the drivetrain.
Yeah.
And if with the GRX, they would probably not get a good deal on. Obviously, they're not going to put a RockShox fork on a GRX build,
right?
And Fox is probably going to not give them the kind of deal that they want. So from a business standpoint, I get it, but I agree with Kevin about the price difference. That's a $4,000 bike.
Yeah.
4,500 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of motor. It's a lot of battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Bosch motor makes a big difference. From the limited research that I was able to do, I was still in research mode, and Clarence sent me the text and said, "Hey, we got a medium tributary in. Do you want to check it out?" And I said, "I'll wait for a large to get in." But Jan and I were out and about Saturday. It's like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's just go by the duck and see what it looks like." And they had it set up, and he said, just take it for a spin. What the hell, you're here.
That's how
you
they
spun it
that's
right
how
out
they-
the door.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
Well, but I got on it. I mean, I was pretty much convinced I wanted the tributary to begin with, but I assumed I needed a large.
Were you entertaining the Confluence?
No.
No. Okay.
I was not. But
Okay.
I was still trying to find a hardtail MTB with a decent fork.
Yeah.
I was still highly considering that Orbea Run or whatever.
I couldn't have handpicked a better bike for you. I mean, this is
Well,
as soon as they announced this, I knew that this is what you were going to get.
I mean, it is the right bike for me. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
I knew that as soon as I saw it.
Yeah, and nothing's going to be a perfect fit. You're going to have
This
to.
is pretty damn close.
Yeah.
But to balance it out for me to potentially take the emotional aspect out of it, I still wanted to do some more research to make sure that it wasn't just, oh, shiny, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tried to make sure there wasn't anything, and unless you just go full dual suspension mountain bike,
There's not a lot of hardtail options. Yeah.
There isn't anything out there.
baby.
And I even called Orbea Direct and tried to, hey, is there any way I can see one of these or runs somewhere?
But you don't speak Spanish.
Well, their U.S. office.
Yeah, no, kidding.
So interesting, looking at the website, two observations. I know you said the tributary is not, because I mentioned it, well, the Cutthroat doesn't have the same stem. You said, well, it's not the Cutthroat. But when you look at the Confluence and you look at the tributary, you know which family those two bikes belong in.
Oh, yeah.
Click on the Confluence and you go to the header image, and it's someone out kind of almost in a urban area or on streets.
Yeah.
You look at the tributary photos, and the guy's on a mountain bike trail.
Yeah.
There's not a single photo of someone on the tributary out on a gravel road, which I think Salsa gets it. They understand what this bike is made for.
It's a backcountry bike is what it is. It's you know what it is? It's a Spinistry Palooza bike is what it's meant for.
Could you take that all day on a day?
50-mile day, yes.
If you keep it in class 2 or 1?
Maybe even 3.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is
You're gonna chew up a lot of battery on. You better go.
Well,
you better go clockwise.
So yeah, I mean we'll be doing
Yeah.
battery testing and all that good stuff and see what it really does.
the interesting thing to me is if you look on the page when you just click on e-bikes, on the left side there's a filters, and it says bikepacking, and indicates that there's 4. Well, there's 4 models of each bike, and if you click on bikepacking, it limits it to only the Confluence. So they're saying that the Confluence is their
that's
bikepacking.
I think that's just a filter issue. That's just an authoring issue on their end from the CMS.
I just think that's
But
interesting.
you definitely want to. That should work. You're going to want that to work.
Well, again, the Confluence is a 30-pound bike, and it's got a big triangle.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is
Okay.
it has the big triangle, and that's the other aspect of why you might not get a suspension fork is because you have all your mounts on your forks.
Yeah, and that was the one benefit of the rigid fork that I don't have those mounts there.
Yeah.
And
That's the thing that
particularly
we
once I
skipped over.
started getting into this, where am I going to put shit?
Yeah.
The reality is
Prison wallet.
the
That's what I'm here for.
I am going to put it in the backside more than likely.
Ooh.
Was I being ribulous, or what was that word?
Ribald.
Ravioli?
Rivoli-ish? Rivoli-ish?
But yeah, more than likely I'm gonna do that aero rack setup, and it's probably with the weight on the front end from the motor and the battery
And the suspension.
and compared to the motor and the battery, the fork's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, it sticks to the ground.
Yeah.
You are not hucking this thing.
Yeah. Oh, I bet I can huck it.
No.
Oh.
Challenge not accepted.
Yeah.
The tributary has twice the Fig Newton meter max torque. Tributary has 85.
Oh, the Confluence is true pedal assist. The Tributary is an e-bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
40 for the
Tributary. That goes back to, yes, to cover ground, it's a fantastic e-bike for that. And to see things, it's a fantastic e-bike for that. It is not riding a bike the way I consider riding a bike for long distance riding. It's a totally different experience. And I'm not saying it is a negative. Like I said, it made more sense to me after my 10-mile ride yesterday. It was like, okay, I now I get it. It's for people that are riding e-bikes. It's a different experience. They're coming from a different perspective.
Sure.
And I recognize it now. But
it's not a surprise, though.
It's not a surprise, but it's something I was able to solidify in my head a little better.
Yeah.
But it also reinforces people that are riding e-bikes that think they're doing the same thing out on the trail specifically. They're not. They're not.
Yeah.
But I can also see where this actually this makes more sense for me to, hey, if I'm going to go geared, I might as well go e-bike. But if I want to go out and have fun on the trail, man, a single speed still makes a lot of sense. Two totally different experiences. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yep.
It basically reinforced me last night. I was like, all right, yeah, I got to drop the weight so my knees can get back to single speeding because I want a single speed again.
Not to completely change the subject, but we were talking about bike bags, and that was something I wanted to touch on, and we can talk about how it relates to your bike as well. Last week, I had posted a photo of my girl all bagged up, looking sexy, prettiest girl in town on the Texas Bikepacking. I think she is. I mean, a lot of people thought she was. 98 people, 100 people thought it was. On the Texas Bikepacking page, and this guy, Joshua Walker, had asked why you haven't gone with rear wheel panniers.
Yes, I saw that comment.
And I didn't realize until after reading some of the additional comments. I think it was because I remember seeing a comment somewhere that he said that he was kind of new to bikepacking and that he was asking because like what, and a couple of different people had commented, and at first
I assumed he got a little bit of negative backlash in there, and belittling to some extent,
and it shouldn't have happened. But then if he had said, "Hey, I'm new to the game,
help me understand,"
because even I wasn't trying to blow him off, but I did. Like my answers were short. Like my first one was like, "Well, I just don't think about it." You know. So I thought it would be
I don't run with
fair
that
to
crowd.
come back. Yeah, that's not my. So. Let's talk about why.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I'm always trying to straighten him out.
From my perspective, why I don't use Panniers is they're bigger bags, more things fit in it, which equals more weight, right? And like it's just more things that I'm not going to need. I did a little bit of internetery, and I found an article on bikepacking.com. They said that like if you take the average touring bike that has panniers on it, and then you take like a bike that looks like what we roll with the traditional saddle bag, front roll, full frame bag, maybe something on the fork or whatever. You're looking at on average about an 8-pound difference just in bags alone.
Oh wow, yeah.
I mean that's that is a lot.
5 to 10 pounds.
Yeah, I mean if you weighed all the gear,
it's going to be 5 pounds if you go with the high end lightweight type pannier stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be 10 pounds if you're going with the Academy Sports stuff or whatever.
Minus water, and maybe this isn't correct if you take into account for food because sometimes we don't always pack dehydrated food. Anyway, if you took all the things out of my bags and weighed them, I don't even know that they would weigh 8 pounds. So here we are. Like the amount of things I'm putting in weighs less than all the bags you would need for the panniers. The other thing, and now this goes into your maybe in your situation, other than the weight distribution, the amount of stuff I want to take. Like I'm not on an average bikepacking trip. I don't want to be like I've done the super ultralight thing, like tried to go out and like what are the most minimal things, and I've done that. I've succeeded and it's fine, but I don't have to do that every time, so I don't.
Right.
So getting into frame compatibility, I don't have to add it. You don't have to add anything to your bike.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going to put Panniers on, you've got to find
a rack
or a frame. Not all bicycle frames have that compatibility. So now you're spending money on extra baggage that you don't necessarily need.
Yeah, I mean the racks are part of the weight.
Right, and then exactly. So then you're going to have to go and you're going to have to find one that's going to fit your bike.
Yeah,
and I don't even know what the price is on those things. Now I've seen I know Jay Peterberry when he's doing Tour Divide now, like he's doing the back rack. I know Lachlan Morton did it on a couple of things.
Yeah.
That makes sense because it's essentially just a front roll. It's just another front roll that's rolled up a little shorter but bigger in diameter.
Yeah.
He's got that place back there. I know he bought a frame and they put a frame on their bike, but I don't necessarily count that as the same because he would have found a way to put that exact same amount of kit on his bike somewhere else on another place that isn't Pannier, like whether it's a traditional saddlebag or whatever. So
you're talking about on that
the long wheelbase bike.
Yeah, it's the Esker Hayduke.
Yeah.
My coworker has just purchased one. It's got the super long wheelbase. So Joshua, hopefully that answered your question a little bit. I sincerely did not mean to blow you off. I wasn't trying to, but I figured I'd come back and give you a little bit of a better explanation.
There's performance issues with Panniers too.
Sure.
When you get into like a single track aspect.
Yeah.
That there's areas that you'd get Panniers hung up where you're
going to get thrown off your bike.
Yeah.
Very definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got actually a good bit of practical experience on the Pannier side. And
I remember scouting back in the day with you when you were trying out Panniers, and I was like, "What are you doing, Kevin?"
Well,
and you're like, "Oh, I'm trying them out," and I'm like, "Well, that's fair,
Yeah, and I mean, there really weren't a lot of bikepacking bag options at that time.
That's true.
Yeah.
This was early in the process. So I started with Panniers, and yes, very definitely from a single track aspect, it's amazing how, particularly on Dallas area trails, it tells you how narrow these trails really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because that's something when you're just riding a mountain bike through a trail, you're not thinking about how much ass room you really need to do stuff.
Well, think about you yesterday. Was that you or Adam? Someone just rolled their wheel right down the side of a rock, just like shaved the side of the rock off. I mean, if there was Panniers on that, it would have.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, how many times have you rolled that rear wheel right off the root ball on a tree to make that turn?
Yeah.
You can't do that with Panniers back there. In turn, it definitely throws that center of balance off completely.
There's also an application aspect to it, though, right? If you're going to go out and we're going to go bikepacking and we're going to spend 2 or 3 nights, I don't think there's a need for that much material, unless if you're going to go do the Idaho frozen ride out there, wherever they do that, and you need the extra clothing. But so I've been building. I've been working on it for 3 years, but I want a grocery getter. Right. So I took an old kid's trailer, took the framing out, got it down to just the chassis, and built like a wood box. But it's kind of bulky, and I have to attach it to a bike every time. So I thought Panniers for a grocery getter would be great, right? You got extra room, you go and you get your stuff and you put it in it. Or if you're going out like some of these guys, these nutcases that go out for months. They're riding from
touring, right?
Yes, they're going from Banff all the way to South America, months on a bike. And they're probably doing more road than backcountry riding. I mean, that maybe makes sense.
15 or 20 miles a day.
Right, exactly. Like that totally makes sense. So I'm not.
Yeah, Panniers are more geared towards touring.
Yeah,
period.
Yeah.
But to go on with it doesn't mean you can't use them for bikepacking. And along those lines, if I have a Pannier rack and one bag, I can carry. If I'm still trying to be somewhat efficient on what I'm carrying, I can just put one bag's worth of stuff in there.
Yeah.
So you can still travel light and efficient. Here was and I know I'm not the only one that's run into this. Here's the big deal with Panniers and bikepacking. Again, going back to most of your tours are doing it on pavement. When you're bikepacking, doing rat type stuff, you're on dirt roads and mountain bike trails. and they're rough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pannier setups are noisy.
Oh, do they make a lot of noise banging around?
They make a shit ton.
Just metal moving on top of metal.
Yeah, because you got all this stuff clipped together, connected,
and they're less aero.
That's a huge thing for long days. Again, when it's 15 or 20 miles a day, it's not that big a deal. If you're trying to do 150 miles a day, that aero effect is
it's a
big.
crosswind catcher too.
It is that, and quite frankly, they're just not sturdy enough for 150 mile days on gravel roads and single track. Panniers are going to tear, shake apart, rattle, break. And when a pannier breaks, you're hosed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You are absolutely hosed. If your bikepacking bag rips or a strap breaks off, you can use a wall-off strap or a dry bag or something and make do. Bungee cord, zip ties, whatever.
Yeah.
I think what it boils down to is panniers and that style of bags is for long and slow, and bikepacking style bags are for fast and light typically.
Or long and light.
Yeah.
Long,
Long and lean.
long, hard, and dirty.
Yeah.
I was reading an article from one guy who years and years was a touring guy, and he had just recently switched over to the more, I don't know how to label it. I don't want to say, I guess maybe the more efficient, maybe the more aerodynamic, traditional bikepacking bags. And he was saying it got to the point where he was, to prevent his shit from rattling around in his panniers, he was looking for more shit to pack in it to stuff it.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's almost too much room.
Yep.
And then he just discovered he was just unnecessarily packing things that he just didn't need.
Look,
just too many luxuries.
I know there's people that are listening to this that are just screaming at their iPhone or whatever right now, telling us how stupid we are. And yeah, we are.
Guilty.
Maybe you have that
Ultimate setup.
ultimate Ortlieb setup or whatever it is that does work for some of the things we're talking about. Maybe it rolls down and you can put a vacuum sealer on it or something like that and nothing shakes around. I don't know. Sure, there's maybe something out there, but generally speaking, these are some shortcomings.
Well, bottom line, though, if it works for you, it works for you.
And that's 100%.
Doesn't matter what we're saying.
We're not telling anyone else what to do.
Yes.
I'm telling you what I do and why. And if that doesn't line up with your stuff,
just to reinforce the context, someone had directly asked me that question, so I was going from my.
Did the responses ever get sorted out to where he did get legitimate responses, kind of like what we're talking about here, or did he get his feelings crushed and run away?
I don't know. I think.
I hope he didn't.
I'm not seeing anything super bad.
All right.
Like some people are like one guy asked him a legitimate question. Where are you headed and for how long? And he.
Yep.
Oh wait, no, he's asking me that. Yeah. Dadgum. I think the guy might have deleted these other comments, and I hate that because I'm just not noticing that.
See,
I didn't go back and read all the comments.
But are you still able to see his name?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I
when we get this episode up, make a point to just send him a link to it.
Yeah, I am. I even posted on there that we were going to talk about it today.
Good.
So, Josh, hang in there, dude. Didn't realize what the context was, and obviously I wasn't negative towards you, but I hated that you feel that way, and we try not to do that on that page.
And
so.
I mean, it's easy to sound like, when we're talking about the whys and wherefores, that we're being judgmental towards people that do it differently. And the short answer is that's never. Sometimes it's Brad's intent. It's never my intent.
He's such a meanie.
I am.
But it's just the shorthand of the conversation sometimes. And I will be the first to admit sometimes I'm not fully cognizant of that. So never take anything I say as being judgmental against anyone that's doing it differently. I'm actually one of those. I'd love to have my my thought process shaken up, and please do change my mind. I am open.
We know you're open.
I'm always interested in other people's setups, man. When the bikes of Tour Divide come out, or the bikes of XL, or Silk Road, man, I get in there and just want to know what all these guys are doing.
I dig it too, but I'm also one of those. I'm one of those. I need to understand the why. It's like, why are you doing it that way? And if I ask you that, Also, don't take that the wrong way. I'm not questioning your thought process. I'm questioning my own.
Yep. And then the last thing I had is, this goes back to our last week conversation about gravel tire sizes and going bigger is better. I know it's a little bit old news. Or is it old news? The new GravelKings?
I don't know that it's old news. It just came out last week. Didn't it?
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, that's right. It is from last week. So, one interesting tidbit that I was reading. So, Panniers GravelKing X1 are out.
What is the X1?
It's a new compound
and
pattern, new sizes. Interestingly enough,
What's the smallest they make?
okay,
Yeah.
they are ditching the 32, the 38, and the 43.
Holy shit.
That surprised me. The 43.
I was shocked. The 43 went away.
Yeah. Anytime we're, if I have used GravelKings.
Mm-hmm.
I used them almost exclusively when I had my Topstone, and
I
would go to the.
I thought that 43 was ideal.
Yeah, and I'd go to Gabe and go, "Hey, I need a new pair of GravelKings." He goes, "Well, all I can get is 32s and 38s." Like they just had shitloads of them because no one was.
Yeah, nobody's running.
But I think it's very interesting that they're getting rid of the 43.
Well, okay, to be fair,
Somebody's just looking at numbers.
Oh, wait a minute. Sizing now starts at 30.
Wait.
yeah, they have super skinny stuff
Oh, and they're going
for the all roads,
and they're changing it to 5 millimeter increments up to 50. So they'll probably have a 35. Okay, well, shit, I misread this now. Damn it.
I understood, but also the reality is a 43 could be a 45, or a 45 could be a 43.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I was testing out different tires.
So to be fair, they're probably both the same 44.
It depends on. Yeah, you're right. Well, when I put those Nobles on my Warbird, I had.
All I'm seeing is 35, 40, and 45.
Oh, they said it's going to go up to 50.
I mean, they're showing sold out on the 40s and the 45s on the Paneracer site.
Yeah, and but the cool thing is they've got the 29ers available. So
whoa, I missed that.
Yeah, they've got 20 650B, 26, and 29er.
What are the size on the 29ers?
What's the X1R? X1 Plus.
I'd have to go to the site and let me look.
Okay.
While I'm doing that, when I was testing out different tires when I got my Warbird and I'd put those Noble wheels on, I took photos. So I put different tires on the stock wheels, and then I put photos on the took photos of once I got the Noble, and there was in some cases 3 millimeter differences. Yeah. And so you have to take that when you look at the bike's tire tolerance. You have to take that in consideration.
Your wheels,
You can't take the size declared at face value.
Yeah.
Very definitely. And well, my bike says it'll take 45s, and these are 45s. Yeah, they may, with your wheel, they may turn into a 48. So.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. I mean, they said they were coming in 29er, but I'm not.
I think they announced everything last week, but I don't think everything's available.
Oh, maybe
yet.
that's it. Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, I'm definitely interested in the 29er. Did they come out with a new semi-slick too, or I thought I saw something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I saw a slick down here.
Hey, Brad, good news for you. All these new GravelKing X1 tires have skin wall options.
I saw that. Good news for me or good news for you?
That's the joke.
Good news for you, him to busting his balls. No, it's I
think they look great. They function poorly.
I'm glad to see Paneracer putting out some new stuff. I mean, they were kick ass on the front end of the gravel scene. They had the I mean, basically it was really the only true gravel tire for a while, but it was a really, really good tire. The competition caught up. Some will say surpassed. I don't know. I've always been happy with my GravelKings when I've run them.
Are you on their website, Caleb?
Yeah.
How shit is their logo?
Yeah.
From a designer standpoint.
I like the color scheme. It's a unique color scheme, the purple and the red
font is
that typography
shit.
is, but They did redesign this a couple years ago.
Oh, trust me, I know. It
doesn't feel.
It's on our Gravel 1000 page.
Yeah.
So.
It doesn't feel.
They
doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
I mean, Panniers another one of those. They got they got gobbled up, for lack of a better term, by one of those investment groups, sort of thing.
No, you know who owns Paneracer?
Who?
Paneracer's a subdivision of Panasonic.
Not anymore. That's
Not anymore?
No.
Oh.
That's my point. They
Huh.
got bought out.
Huh. Okay. I did not know that.
Yep. So, so there's been, I think it was like maybe at the very front end of COVID, but it wasn't because of COVID. I think it was just coincidental timing.
Yeah.
So they were kind of between that and the supply chain issues and things like that. Paneracer kind of, they didn't have inventory and stuff for a while, and the competition was doing other stuff. So I felt they were kind of stagnant for a while. But it might have just been they had no choice in the matter at the time. So it's really cool to see them being active again in the scene. I like that a lot.
It's interesting that they have a catalog available that if you go to the very bottom of the page, it's a clickable and you can go through their entire catalog, and it's very extensive, very informative. However, it's from 2021, 2022.
I think they seem to be back on their A game. I bet they have a big thing going up at the Mid-South this week, would be my guess.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
That is this week.
That is this week.
We have some buddies going. Hope they do well. Hope the weather holds out. It looks like it's going to.
I looked at it this morning. It looked like they were going to have decent weather.
Yeah.
Did you see all the carnage that took place at Valley of the Tears?
Oh, have you seen? Have you read what's going on this morning?
No.
Well, we are a non-political podcast, but there is a lot of politics going on in that race right now.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of
in the aftermath.
What's the aftermath? You tell your thing and I'll tell my thing.
No, I have way less information than you.
Well, talk about you brought it up first. What the carnage? What?
There was wrecks on wrecks on wrecks in the sand on the tarmac. Who was that hit the barrel? Like I
have not seen any of this
in the first I want to say first couple of miles.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any details. I've seen comments from friends of mine that went to it and enjoyed the event.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything. Okay, now you go back to the political aspect. What's going on?
I want to make sure. I'm looking up something real quick. I want to make sure I'm getting my ducks in a row on this because I saw it this morning before I had my coffee.
Am I supposed to watch this for 2 miles or what?
No, just look.
Oh, okay. You said
it fast forwards pretty quick. It's just multiple clips of just carnage, and this is just from people.
Sand traps. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did that? Oh.
Yeah. I mean that's
that's
not necessarily course. A course issue. It's more of,
I mean,
how much more orange can you make that barrel?
Well, yeah, can you send me the link to that?
Yeah, I sure can.
I want to look at that a little closer.
Yeah.
Anyway, go. Okay, so what did you see this morning, Caleb?
I saw an Instagram post from several racers who pulled out of the race for political reasons because there were some significant, and again, like full disclaimer here, I don't have all the details on it because
Nor do you have a dog in the fight.
I don't have a dog in the fight either. I don't care either way. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I'm just, what I read was that what the post alluded to was that the main title sponsor was a massive CPAC donor to political groups that didn't particularly align with a lot of people that were there, that was kind of under the table as far as funding military aid to places and things and stuff that I don't want to get into. But it seemed like...
Are you saying they stand with Ukraine?
No, it was not Ukraine.
Oh.
It was not Ukraine.
Putin?
You're on the wrong side of the planet for that.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong time zone.
Oh, they were MAGA guys.
No. I'm not getting into that at all.
Okay.
No.
I'm just fucking about.
I
don't care.
It was basically the guy saying, "Hey, I don't know if y'all are aware, but one of the main sponsors of this race has donated I'll use my words, lots and lots of dineros to political campaigns that have some pretty specific and unique views to things that are very touchy right now."
Yeah.
So again, I'm in the middle of the road reporting this. I don't know the whole details about it.
I get it.
I was just surprised that this was happening.
So they pulled out in the middle of the race?
You guys talk to me so I can find it.
They just didn't show up.
Opted not to,
But how big of an influence that was and how many people's decision, there's no telling. From a promoter's perspective and from a person that lives in Texas perspective, there would be nothing about that would be any surprise, because there's no way they put that event on it was Deep Pockets that put that event. There was no way it could be anything but Deep Pockets that put that event on.
Especially with that purse, yeah.
And, everything about it.
Yeah.
And 2, if there's Deep Pockets in Texas...
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it's not being judgmental.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
It's just surprised that somebody's surprised. How long are they going to be able to call it Valley of the Tears?
That was another thing that came up that someone mentioned in the Instagram post. I sent it to you guys so you can kind of dig through it. There's a lot there.
Like Dirty Kanza can't be called Dirty Kanza anymore. Land Run, you can't call it Land Run anymore, but they can go out and call it Valley of the Tears. I was like, you're just trying to get canceled?
Yeah. To me, that's... I mean, as soon as because you guys brought it up, 3 episodes ago, I think?
Yeah.
And I had not heard of it. And as soon as you guys mentioned that and mentioned where it was at, I was like, wow. And I tend to be very in the middle of a lot of things.
We should all aspire to be in the middle.
I'm trying to be consciously not immediately jump to an opinion on either side of it until I read both sides, which I clearly have not done. But knowing my Texas history and knowing the area that race takes place in, as soon as you guys said it internally, I was like, oh, wow. That's a pretty bold name considering what's going on there or has gone on there.
Frazier posted his montage from that event, and he set it to Bob Wills.
Did he?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thought it was pretty fitting.
Yeah. Nice. So. They should have called it the King of Swing gravel race.
Yeah.
Why not? That would have been great.
My guess
that is not as cool as sounding as Valley.
Yeah. So. I don't think they'll be able to keep that title. If the event happens again next year, I doubt it'll be called the same thing. Unless they're just going to...
It would take a massive amount of influence from outside the area. No one in that area is going to have a problem with it, I don't think.
And not trying to judge the event or anything like. I don't want it to sound like.
We are sitting in judgment.
I'm not. I'm completely fascinated by it because it doesn't make any sense to me as a promoter.
No, it is kind of an enigma.
From the best I could tell, and I have not dug too deep into this, but now I'm even tremendously more fascinated.
Yeah.
I think we had more attendees for Texas Chainring Massacre than they had for this.
Yeah, I don't know what their total attendance was.
And I judged that first. Our friend Mr. Waldschmidt sent me the start line video. He was there, but I don't think he did the event. He did his own stuff out that way. Yeah. But he went out to socialize with folks, and he sent me from the sidelines the start, and it's like that doesn't even look as big as what we had for the Texas Chainring Massacre.
What would be your guess? Like 300-ish?
Less than 250 to 300 was what it kind of looked. It looked like 225 to 250. It's kind of what it looked. But I mean, I wasn't counting people. It's like
yeah, that's fair. I was just saying.
And then later, it's like I looked up their results to see. Well, maybe usually you can look at the results and it shows you how many people actually showed up. And I only saw like 250. Yeah, and that showed up in the results. But maybe there was some non-competitive stuff.
Yeah.
That there were no results for or something like that. That might have been more people. I don't know.
I'm interested to hear McAfee's digestion of it post-event.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was he there too?
Yeah.
Oh, hey Sean, I want to hear your thoughts on because Rich was talking about it because I mean it's like we talked about. We're pretty familiar with that route.
Yeah, I would say so.
And Rich was talking about it beforehand. He's like, yeah, people are going to be crying at this one. Mm-hmm. And it's like...
So it's appropriately named.
That's what he was getting at.
Yeah.
I don't want to be disrespectful there.
Oh no, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful either.
I know you weren't. It's an extremely tough balancing act because I am fascinated. You guys know when I do stuff like that, I'm fascinated by the history of it and the cultural aspects of things. So like I have a huge route along the same theme that I call the Comancheria route, that just all of West Texas. It covers a lot of this historical stuff, and it was for the region that used to be referred to as Comancheria.
Which means what?
The Comanche Kingdom.
Okay.
The Comanche region, the Comanche territory, Comanche Nation.
So it's basically a Comanche area, but it's Comancheria.
Comancheria,
Yeah.
I believe what the Spanish called it.
Yeah. It's just the Spanish translation.
So basically it's really loose from the Trinity River to New Mexico what was all of Comancheria up to probably Kansas now.
Yeah.
But a huge chunk of it was the Big Bend region up through Palo Duro Canyon. That was a core of it.
I love the idea of fitting the history in, and I know you try to do that, but like going even deeper, I've looked at the route, but I haven't followed every dot. Do you take it by historical markers? Do you try to take it around significant areas? Here's what I'm getting at. Kay and I went to the Denton Black Film Festival a couple months ago, and they had a really great documentary, and I need to find the name because I want to reach out to these guys. I think it was either the Emancipation Trail or the Freedom Trail or whatever, but it was these three guys from around the Austin area, African-American gravel and bikepacking cyclists, and they rode this route from Austin down to Galveston by swinging over a little bit to the left and hitting all these historical markers on their way down to where the Emancipation made it announced in Galveston. So they were able to put together this actually looked like a really cool route. And on their way, they stopped at historical areas, whether it was historical black churches or different locations. And so I thought that was really cool, is like the tourism aspect of it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily setting up someone to come to an area and we'll take care of everything, but the route actually takes you on highlights and routes you to something significant that happened in that area. And you may not have that opportunity in that area, but
the Butterfield Trail.
The Butterfield one does that. Comancheria, when it's... And Tasha, when they're Tasha's a good example. I'm utilizing the Native American word that originated Texas there. So is that me appropriating culture there? Maybe it is.
No, it's a nod to history.
No, it's a nod to history. Absolutely.
It's a balancing.
You're posing the question. I see what you're saying.
It's a balance, and trust me, there may be people that would call me out on it. I wouldn't be surprised. Am I gonna? I don't know. Again, Kevin being open-minded, I'm willing to hear all sides of it. I see it as honoring and respectful at this time. But if somebody were to convince me differently, I could be convinced. I'm not saying I expect to be. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
This is not a popular opinion, but I think good, bad, or indifferent, we have to acknowledge history. This erasing of history is detrimental to our future as far as looking back and understanding what goes on.
I don't disagree with that, but
I'm not saying celebrate the bad things that happened, but don't try to erase them.
Yeah, I agree. Look, being in the middle, I can't imagine anything about the route that you've created. The naming of it could be offensive to either side. You didn't name it Valley of the Tears.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's like, someone's got an argument on that. Like, it's not, let's not erase what happened there, but let's not celebrate some atrocities that we know took place.
Yeah.
And I think even on your ride, there weren't a lot of, it wasn't all smiles and handshakes, but we need to know what happened on that route. And there's a lot of people that have a taste of history. I think for some reason, history and things like that kind of resonate within adventure cyclists because they like seeing things that locations and stuff. Well, so I want more of that.
Yeah.
I agree, but I also agree that I could overstep and I'm not talking about Tay shift specific. Okay, let me give a good example. About 10 years ago, I got fascinated with what I call my Buffalo Soldier route. Mm-hmm. Are y'all familiar with that one?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Basically, Montana to St. Louis. It was the first bikepacking expedition, was basically what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But the corps that did it were the Buffalo Soldiers, the Negro, I believe they were cavalry, and I say Negro in the historical perspective.
Yeah.
That's how they were referred to as the Buffalo Soldiers. So I put together a route that as closely approximated it as I could, and then I started talking about it as something I wanted to do down the road, and I did get some. It wasn't a big deal, but it was brought to my attention that maybe it would be more appropriate for an African American to be more involved with helping to organize it. And I didn't disagree with that.
But that seems contrived if you bring someone in just to be...
No, I think somebody else had a similar idea that was African American.
Oh, well, yeah, let them run with it. Yeah,
and that's basically what I did.
Yeah.
And,
I get that, but
I believe he referenced my route, so hopefully he used it.
Yeah, very cool. Okay. I don't know. Way to bring us political, Caleb. You cuck.
Okay.
Yeah, you know me.
I am definitely, but I am fascinated by that. But it is a part of the cycling culture because you went back to Dirty Kanza and Land Run and things like that.
And I think those
makes sense to be respectful.
Yeah,
There's
but
no doubt about that.
I think those events were originally meant to honor and respect and reflect.
But you can intend to honor and respect and still be disrespectful.
Yeah, but I don't think either of those events had that intention.
I'm not saying that they did. What I'm saying is you can have the road to hell is paved in good intentions.
Yeah,
isn't that the old axiom?
It still just frustrates me that both of those events changed their name in almost a knee-jerk reaction with the climate of what was going on.
I think you assume too much. We'll have an offline discussion.
So you missed it. You weren't here just yet. I asked Kevin. He's not going to show up on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay.
Probably not.
Be a good area to test that new steed out, though.
Okay, so let me explain why.
It would be a great place to bring that bike in.
It would. Let me explain why real quick, but then I definitely want to get back to you.
You don't owe us an explanation.
I think I do, because I told you
You
last
did dangle that carrot.
I did, and I would still like to.
We would love for it.
So here's what's going on. So we have this year-long challenge going on right now called Gravel 1000.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And to support that, we're doing Club Spinistry rides.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done a couple already, and we'll be doing more in North Texas on a really regular basis. Mm-hmm. And I started looking at the heat map for the sign-ups for Gravel 1000. It's like, I need to do a Club Spinistry ride down towards Austin and Waco, support those people that have signed up for this challenge and help them get some gravel. So my plan A this weekend is to do a ride out of Rogers, Texas. And
I have no clue where Rogers is.
It's halfway between Waco and Austin, and then east of the interstate a little ways.
Okay.
Some really cool roads out that way. Most of the roads I have in mind to use, we've used with other stuff and I'm familiar with, but there's others that need to be verified. So I'm getting down there. Currently, I have a campsite booked for Friday and Saturday night to verify it. But we've got weather in the forecast.
That sounds like a definite not.
We've got weather in the forecast, and if that forecast stays shitty down there, I may pull the plug on it. And if I pull the plug, I have the flexibility to play in the grasslands with y'all.
Okay.
So that was a long way around too. Y'all talk about your grasslands trip. Sorry.
Make no mistake, the weather doesn't look very promising for us either.
It looks worse down there.
Yeah. I'm actually a little nervous about the weather.
Did y'all do your scouting trip yesterday like you were?
No, work's been insane the last couple of days, and so
I have so many projects hanging.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
I've been very productive though over the last 2 weeks. I've been even outside of work things like just little projects that I needed to finish up. Like, I'm just like checking off that box. So I feel good about that. I am busy, but like progress is being made in life, boys.
So you're actually accomplishing shit. Is that what you're saying?
Shit's getting done.
Nice.
Shit's getting done.
Yeah. I feel the same way, but I'm just kind of bogged down a little bit. I've got to start working on my truck. I've got to replace my up pipe and my down pipe on my truck, and then I've got a pump. I've got to replace my entire pump assembly on my pool. I've got seeds to plant, and I've got so much crap to do. Like, it's just insane.
So you don't have time to ride that bike today. You got too much shit to do.
I was working on my seeds this morning, man. They're getting all leggy. I had to transplant them.
Yeah, wait till you see my girls.
Yeah?
I've got soil sitting in the back of the truck that I need to disperse those because they're a little crowded at this point.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You just reminded me of something.
Mm-hmm.
Those damn pickled peppers that you sent with me a while back.
Yeah. No, candied peppers.
Candied peppers.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What's that? Those things are awesome. What's that process?
Well, it's proprietary.
Is it?
I'll tell you offline because there is a big secret to it.
Is okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was something. I thought you said when I got them that this is super simple, super basic.
They are, but I had to figure it out, and I don't want to.
No, no. Fine.
I don't keep a lot of stuff close to the chest, but when it's so stupid simple, it's kind of like somebody else needs to figure it out. I will tell you the seed to the whole thing is I went to a Labor Day party at somebody's house, and they had a big spread, and it was, everybody brought something, and they were serving that over cream cheese, and I was like real reluctant, like, man, doesn't look like much. Then I started eating it, and I could not stop eating it, and I was like, holy shit, this is good. So I asked the girl about it, and she goes, oh, this is Oklahoma Gold. She goes, you can't buy this anywhere except for out of this one place in Oklahoma. And so I tasted it a couple more times. I was like, I looked at her and I go, oh, I'm going to figure this out. And I literally woke up one morning about 4 days later and I go, I know exactly how to make it. And I walked straight into the kitchen and I made it, and it was tits on. And I was like, oh, got it. So I'll tell you, it is stupid easy, but there's one tiny little trick to it. So
okay. And they're amazing.
Yeah,
and I miss them tremendously.
Oh, they're once I tell you, you'll be like, oh, okay. I can make this.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. But the weather forecast for the grasslands.
What are you talking about?
I'm just talking about the rain. Like, we're supposed to have rain tonight.
No, it's rolled out.
Roll out? No way.
Tomorrow's no.
No, it's supposed to rain today.
This is Alvord, so it may not show the rain in Alvord for today here, but if you look at the weather forecast for Alvord, it looks
so maybe Alvord's far enough west that the rain's never getting there.
Yeah.
But if it's raining here, you still have to go through stuff.
Yeah, we're not starting in Alvord.
You don't tell me where I go.
See, I'm showing 53% chance of rain on Friday, but only 0.13 inches.
And it's 20% at noon, and it lasts.
Yeah,
and
it's the further south you go, it's like 70-80% chance.
Well,
every
hopefully
day,
it keeps pushing south.
No, I think y'all are going to be okay.
From a selfish perspective.
I get that.
Yeah.
I think y'all are going to be okay, and that's why I'm saying I am keeping that in mind as a plan B for me.
Okay. Well,
and by the time people hear this, we'll already have known what happened.
Well, I will speak for the group and say that I guarantee we could make it worth your while if you were to show up with a cooler full of Coors Original.
We'll see how things shake out.
Where do we? Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Hey, well,
where do we draw the line between going out and getting away from everything, and a bunch of dickheads wanting to ride into town to eat lunch in civilization?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've been on multiple bikepacking trips. In fact, I told the story of when we were outside of Tioga and we set up camp, left all our stuff, and rode into town and went to Clark's and ate.
Okay.
And then went back to camp. I mean, and that was super memorable.
I get it. I'm just curious.
But before we get too far down this, I have a list of questions here from Alan Proctor.
He got real mad last night.
He was bent.
About?
Oh, this the whole deal. I mean, and you're going to love this the most, Kevin.
Yeah, this will resonate to you 120%.
I already think I know where this is going, but I want to hear it from...
The whole premise was, if you need your handheld, this is not the event for you.
Right.
He still hasn't even read the email, and he's asking questions. And I told him, I was like, dude, just read the effing email. Like everything, all your answers are in there. And if they're not, maybe this isn't the event for you. And so last night he just continued to ask questions. He's like, so what's the plan on Saturday? And I'm like, dude, read the email or show up and find out,
right.
you know? So it's just funny.
Anybody that's listened this deep into this,
we lost half our audience.
probably is already of this mindset, and definitely if you've listened to multiple episodes. But who knows? Maybe somebody that's interested in the tributary is finding us for the first time or something like that.
Agua, por favor.
Something
dirty.
Super, super critical, at least in my perspective, and from a Spinistry events perspective, to adventure cycling, bike packing, that sort of thing, you got to be flexible. It's not a box that everything's laid out precisely. You have to be capable to make adjustments on the fly, be flexible enough, and keep in mind, it is not an adventure until something goes wrong to begin with.
Yep.
If that's 80% of the fun is experiencing the unexpected, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, I agree. No one said, "Hey, make this a vague or secretive or hard to find detailed trip." I took that upon myself. We set a date last year, I think in the summer. It was like it was 109 degrees.
Right.
And we were on a text thread, and someone said, "I can't wait for the weather to be, we can go bikepacking." And I said, "Let's set a date. We don't know where we're going to go. Let's go somewhere local because everyone's busy. No one has time.
Right.
Gas is expensive, and like traveling to a place to then get set up. No one wants to drive all day to a location, get on their bike and drive, go ride. Like we just don't have time for that." So It came time. Adam had texted back in I guess December, and said, "Are we still doing this? I have this on my calendar." And we had yet to make a plan. No one asked me to take the lead on it, and I just said, "Hey, I'll figure it out." So I, being someone who is in the creative industry, I couldn't help myself but to make a theme around it, right? So I centered it around this idea of sacred spring, the rebirth of everything, the growth of everything. Everyone feels good and fresh and new. So
I know about growth.
Yeah. Kevin knows a lot about sacred growth. But he doesn't make it a secret. So I'm going to take a sip of water here so everybody listen to the sound effect.
Are you an alien?
Gobble, gobble, gobble. So the intent was not to be vague in the plans. The intent was to have this vagueness, this secrecy, this cosmic kind of thing about spring and put it in a package for bikepacking. And I sent you that PDF. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it that I designed. Everything was laid out in it, but there was one note that said, "Hey, if you need hand holding or if you need to know every little bit of detail about where we're going, you're not going to get this." Like when you go on a bikepacking, like when you do Wood Ape Ramble, Sean is so good about knowing that route so well that he knows what's coming around every corner. We've never ridden this. I've only been to LBJ a couple of times, only one time on a bike, and I've hiked small sections of it with Kay. So I can't answer all the questions about what's going to be out there, but that's the whole point of going out there and exploring something new. And I even said,
it's an adventure.
Let's go somewhere new that most of us, I know Red has spent a lot of time out there, so that's going to be good having him out there. Mm-hmm. He knows a lot about it. But for the most part, this group of 7 or 8 or however many going, like there's guys that have never even been out there, and I've got little experience out there. I want to know, like, this could be a treasure trove of a location that's within a day's ride or a hour drive to go hang out in.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the whole part of it. And there was just a lot of, well, when is this going to happen and how far and doing this and all that and how many stops. And it's like, well, I mean, if you look at the route, it's on there. I figured my mistake was there was enough of us that were interested in it that, well, I don't want to, I'm
Way to go.
trying not to be a dick because I don't want to do that.
No, but
my idea is, hey, give me a route and I'm going to go do it. And my expectations of everyone else having that same was unfair to the group.
But it's not.
Maybe it is, because I don't want to. I don't want to exclude the people that want to go. I don't want to do that because I want a big group and I want us to go out and have a good time.
But
but part of this is like the mindset is, let's go fucking do this. Who knows what's going to be around the corner?
But it has to be the right group of people. And I'm not saying anyone you've named is wrong for it.
Well, by the design of the course, just the fact that it's 70 miles precludes a lot of the newbies from showing up, even though it's supposed to be kind of a
semi-beginner friendly, but beginner to the experience friendly.
Yes. I mean, I don't know.
Here's what you need to express to people. The short thing is to expand your comfort zone. You have to get uncomfortable. Yeah,
and you don't tell stories. You don't have stories to tell if you don't go do.
Yeah.
You know, what was the old term? Analysis paralysis. People get stuck in that mindset, and they want to overthink everything, and you have way more fun when you just go, okay, my bike is set. Let's ride. Let's see what happens.
It's an oversimplification, but it's a lot of people that have. It's their last threshold to keep the fear gate closed. Is that analysis paralysis? If I don't know everything, then I still have reasons to change my mind and pull out. Is part of it.
But the fact of the matter is, the person that thinks they have it all figured out are the ones that get most bewildered by the smallest little occurrence that wasn't on their
the people
schedule.
That want it all figured out are also the ones that will traditionally, if it's not exactly the way I want this trip to be, it's not a worthwhile trip. And that's an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
Because what's a perfect trip for me is never going to be a perfect trip for either of you. But that doesn't mean that we can't all go on the same trip together and have a grand time.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not worried about the mileage, are you?
I am.
That 70 miles is going to be hella easier than 50 miles in Terlingua.
That bike goes 72 miles.
That's it. Well, but all my shit won't fit on that bike.
You don't need. So okay, so here, kind of along these lines that we're talking here, and where's the line of going to town and getting lunch or whatever else? In my head, I figured out that is the perfect semi-supported Spinistry rig for people that are trying this stuff for the first time.
How are you? So okay, I meant to ask this question. And Brad, if you want to go back to the trip in a minute, that's fine. Let's say you open up, hey, we're going to do this and bring your gravel e-bikes. How will people charge them?
Well, I mean, I haven't gotten to that level.
Yeah, but your thought is you're going to figure out a way to people have a place to plug in.
I don't know. I haven't figured out anything yet. That was a realization. It's like the way we've done our Spinistry supported, semi-supported rides before. If there's 6 people that have a tributary, okay,
you can have a dinosaur powered
something
generator.
Yeah. Generator could do it. And it's like, and even without being able to carry everything, if you're throwing your tent and everything in the back of my truck, all you have to do is carry water at that point.
Yeah, and snacks.
And a few snacks. But I mean, I'm going to be there every 25 miles with the cooler and the Fig Newtons, Yeah. So
that bike would be really damn fun.
Interlingua. That's what I was.
Can you imagine climbing Christmas Mountain on that thing?
Okay, y'all are going to have to take it for a spin. And then, can you imagine climbing Christmas Mountain on this thing?
Why?
Because
it can.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It can with vigor.
Yeah.
It's stupid how. Okay, here was my wake-up call on the capabilities of this bike. Okay, I know we're supposed to tough it out and be men or women or whatever. I'm still one of those. I'm sorry, a 25-mile-an-hour headwind is not my favorite thing when I'm riding a bike. you don't even notice.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I'm just tooling along at 18 miles an hour, not even trying.
Yeah.
With a 40-mile-an-hour headwind.
Speaking of headwinds, the flip flop on my memories the other day came up when you put together the tailwind route.
Oh yeah. Oh,
we rode from here. So we
went to Fort Worth and hopped the train.
No, we rode from here. Kevin put together a 100-mile route, and we rode from here to Gainesville. Caught the train
with the south tailwind.
With the south tailwind, we had a 25-mile-an-hour tailwind the whole time. We rode the train down to Fort Worth and then rode back to here, and it was almost like tits on 100 miles.
Almost dead on 100 miles.
Yeah, and we had a tailwind probably 90% of the time.
Yeah.
The wind was blowing so much that at one point we had a crosswind, and I was like trying not to get blown over. So it was just Cadillacing the whole day. It was so awesome.
That was a good day.
It was a hell of a day. Hell of a day.
It's amazing how strong you feel when you turn into a tailwind. You go, wait a minute. Oh, no, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I'm real strong now. I don't know why I was struggling so hard earlier, but I'm back.
Oh, yeah. That Fig Newton kicked in.
Yeah.
Good deal.
I was riding with Caleb one day, and he's cranking. I'm like, hey, man, let this tailwind work. Why are we trying to outrun this tailwind? Yeah. I was like, you feel that wind in your face? We're going too fast, you know? He's like, yeah.
That stuck with me. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that did. I still think about that today. When I get into a tailwind, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm putting way too much effort. And I look down, I'm going like, 26, 27 or whatever. I'm like, this is okay.
Yeah.
Why am I bleeding off free speed?
Yeah. There's no reason to be at 180 BPM right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, I was hoping my package was going to get here today. I mean, it is still going to get here today.
What package is this?
So we talked about this. I don't know, maybe, it was right shortly after Terlingua, as a matter of fact. And I finally pulled the trigger, and I ordered a Garmin 1040S.
Oh, your computer. Oh, yes.
And I ordered a Garmin InReach 2.
Nice.
Yeah. So both of those things are supposed to land today, and I'm going to be frantically trying to set them up and get my route on there for this weekend and figure out how to work the whole thing and all that stuff.
I would say focus on the 1040 and get that dialed in before you start messing with the InReach.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That is priority one.
Yeah, because the InReach could be a pain in the ass that might get frustrating.
Well, and I feel like I'm behind because Red already has the route downloaded, and man,
you're not going to have any issues whatsoever getting routes on your Garmin now.
Oh, I know. If Red can do it,
it's so easy
you're
now.
You're still using
my eTrex.
Yeah.
But my eTrex
you
is
poor bastard.
Do you have a Garmin Connect account? Have you signed up? To go ahead and do that now and get that ready, because as soon as you get that device in,
send me the route, and I'll put it on a Spinistry event so everybody can also have a ride with GPS backup on it.
That'd be cool. But I'm. So we talked about Caleb and his inability to get rid of his cutthroat because it's sentimental. Well, my eTrex, I bought it from Truman.
You bought it from Truman. It doesn't. No.
I mean, it will retire, but it won't go away. It's still a fucking precious keepsake. I miss that guy.
Every day.
Yeah.
I didn't know him.
Speaking of stories, that guy could tell a story like nobody's business. Hey, good times.
Yeah. I like that, though. I like coming in and finding out about people and seeing how much impact they had on somebody. And then in this certain people, he's a name that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Right? It's I didn't have the opportunity to know him, but like, man, hearing stories, I wish it. Same thing with Ray Porter.
Yeah.
Yep.
I knew I had met him, but didn't know him.
Yeah.
And I think this is the best way for their
legacy to
live on. To live on is people constantly remembering and talking about them. Same thing with.
There is no doubt that both of those gentlemen are fundamental inspirations for me doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And whenever I have, am I going the right direction with this?
Yeah.
I kind of lean on what would Truman do? What would Ray do?
Yeah.
I mean, and make no mistake, Ray was really good at busting my balls.
Ray was good at busting everybody's balls.
And I definitely took it as a sign of love.
Yeah.
It was this, this is how you should do it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm not going to do it to that extent, but all right, I get it. You need some challenge in there that's not showing up just yet. Okay.
It showed up on my Facebook memories not too long ago of us, that exploration ride we did on the net with Truman. And that was my first trip on the net.
That was your first net experience?
Yeah. Well, I think all of us were like trying to figure out what the state of that trail was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was full-on adventure and exploration there. No doubt about it.
So, Luna.
But it was, I think, if I remember right, one of the big eye-openers for all of us was, holy shit, something this flat and this long can be a workout.
Yeah.
Because with that much rolling resistance, there was no coasting.
Well, and the trestle crossings and all that stuff. I think they've remedied all that at this point. No?
No.
No?
No. A lot of those ridges are still the same.
Yeah.
This was long before they had those paved sections and groomed and right. This was still really raw and
it was the first
primitive
year that it was put in.
Yeah. I mean the Farmersville to Merritt section was the gravel stuff. That it is probably better than what it is now. I think it's gone downhill, is what I've heard. But after Celeste, it just turned into wild and woolly, and but it was mowed that time. It was maintained that way, and that was always my dream. Was the net would be just stay in that state, just stay as that rail bed, just properly mowed and canopied, and I would love it like that all the way to Texarkana. You know? But
was it smooth enough that after they pulled the railroad ties up, that you didn't have the washboard all the way down? I mean, did they fill that over?
Yeah,
or was it pretty?
It was just like a chunk.
Luna.
It was like a chunk. The truck went up and down. It was just it was like a big chunk gravel road. So it's one of those that realistically, mountain bike makes more sense than a gravel bike sort of thing, generally speaking.
Yeah. Well, back then it was mountain bikes or like cyclocross bikes.
And that's where I was about. We didn't have 45s then.
Yeah. I was on my Willets, and I think I had like 38s
38.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. What were those? What tires were those that we leaned on so heavily back in the day?
Nano Raptors. What was I riding back then?
Oh, well.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. We could go really deep on that.
Yeah.
We really don't need to.
So, going back to your Garmin.
Mm-hmm.
The Garmin's going to be super, the edge will be super easy to set up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm more concerned with where I'm going to mount it on my bike at this point. Like probably on my Morsa. I've got a Morsa extender where I have my light is on the bottom. I have my computer on the top.
It's going to come with, I want to say, it's going to come with two mounts, I think. I can't remember. There's one mount that it comes with. So there's
Is it the old interface where
yes,
it's
but
the pivot?
Garmin,
so I have a bunch of
Garmin
those.
will send one sometimes where the
Luna
the clasp that goes over your bar, and then the Garmin the arm that comes out is on the bottom.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes it comes out on the top. I've got one that comes out on the top that's flipped over, and it's right on top of my stem.
Yeah.
And it's perfect because I'm using the Morsa thing too, but I can't get that Morsa is not long enough to do the mount, the direct quad mount on it because the device is too long.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to get in there and turn it. Plus, it's a little low.
Yeah.
I'll show you mine.
Yeah.
And I've got a ton of Garmin mounts I can bring over and.
Oh, I have a ton of Garmin mounts.
See if you can get it over your stem.
That's where I want it to be.
Directly over your stem.
Yeah, that's where I want it to be.
That's what I would do. And then, I don't know if they've made any improvements.
Does somebody make a top tube or top cap Garmin mount?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Quad. I think the brand's Quad Lock.
Oh, well, that's not but Quad Lock's proprietary system, right? Did they make a Garmin interface? Because Quad Lock's the one that has the little tab. Because that's what Gage runs on his motorcycle.
Yes, but what I'm saying is is in their accessories.
Mm-hmm.
They've got
Garmin.
one that whether it's you're mounting your Garmin or whether it's you're mounting your phone or whatever, they have an attachment that goes on the stem cap, and you mount whatever you want on it.
Okay.
The quad lock is the system that connects the device to whatever you're connecting it to. And I'm saying they have an option that you can put the female end
I got you.
attachment
It's still
to.
a quad lock to quad lock
Yes.
connector, but you put your
Okay.
thing on
Okay.
Yeah.
basically
makes
an
sense.
adapter.
But if you've got enough old Garmin
Yeah, I do.
arms, if you've got the short one that the
I'll have to dig and
that it's
look
on
what I have.
top.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, you don't where the arm is on top. You don't flip it. You don't
This is-
rotate it backwards. You turn the Garmin
Yeah.
to where the arm goes back towards you.
Yeah.
And it goes over the top of your.
Yeah, I'm tracking. This is
Extend.
great radio, by the way.
yeah.
I mean, people
Yeah,
are we going to win a Marconi for this?
You know what? I think it's time.
I think it's time.
Let's go ride that bike.
Let's go fucking punk out that e-bike.
I'm going to do a wheelie.
Forget it. Forget it.
I love that guy.
Miss him.